One thing I know for sure about humans is that we like to party. Whether it's the celebration of an occasion or just a celebration of celebration, communal social events are a traditional part of any society. Hey there, I'm GM Jim, and today we're talking about holidays and festivals and Dungeons & Dragons and other tabletop role-playing games. I'm going to lay out 7 examples of shindigs you can borrow to drop into your TTRPG campaign. In this high-tech future we currently live in, many humans can do their jobs, buy groceries, and socialize with their friends without ever leaving their homes. But if you skip back just a couple hundred years before our modern communication methods, leaving the house was the only way to have real-time interaction with people not in our immediate families. Keep this in mind when designing your holidays, that some of them can be excuses just to get people out of their houses.
Where the f*** do you think you're going?
I'm going out!
First, I think it's useful to consider if this is a recurring holiday or festival or a one-time thing. For a singular thing, let's talk about the one-off parade. Now, for most of these holidays, I'm going to give you specific examples of events, but I'm going to talk generally about parades. Because parades are an incredible way to generate plot hooks and pass along exposition. If you've ever witnessed a small-town parade, you know how they work. Usually a town decides to celebrate something like veterans or the harvest or springtime snowmelt or whatever. And then what do you see in the parade? In a small town, businesses and prominent citizens are either given a spot or purchase one in the parade line. So this is an incredible way to introduce NPCs. As the party watches the parade floats travel down Main Street, they see Barthen from the smithy, and Lenine who works at the armory, and Sister Gorel from the shrine, and a float or two reenacting historical events significant to the town. You could turn this into a non-stop flood of exposition. But here's a specific one-off parade idea you can steal: the parade for the rival PCs. Say your party enters a town and much to their surprise, there's a parade on. There's the mayor on a float and the barkeep and a reenactment of the town founding, etc. And then at the end of the parade, the party finds out this has all been to celebrate a rival party or potential rival party who saved the town in some way. And they're all jerks, of course. Often you can introduce a one-off parade or festival to celebrate the arrival of a new technology or change. Here's something I prepped once but didn't get to use. The party was headed to a seaside town and I wanted a festival when they arrived so they could see this town en media res of being vibrant and full of activity. I had designed this town as a sort of hybrid between Miami and New Orleans, so it had to be a really exciting place. And here's what I did. I created a festival with the very on-the-nose name of the Turning On of the Lights. The city council had installed interconnected glass tubes around downtown, and figured out a way to magically suspend bioluminescent plankton in these tubes to light up the city at night. And so the festival is just everyone socializing, gathering around to count down when they turn on these new high-tech magical city lights. Obviously, this fits into a seaside town story because of the plankton, but you could do almost this exact same thing in a mountain town, using harvested magical minerals from local mines instead of glowing sea creatures. Another generic party is the Masquerade Ball, which roleplay-heavy tables love. A Masquerade Ball is a fantastic setting for an investigation plot because the masks become a variable. This is great for any two-step mystery where you first find the killer, then you find out who the killer is. Real quick, could you hit the like button and subscribe below? It only takes a second and helps us both out. Make sure to click all next to notifications and click join to get exclusive perks from my channel. Now let's talk a bit about the nature of recurring festivals. Every town in your world has a reason why it is where it is. Hold on, let me explain, I know that was confusing. Most towns form near water, right? Creatures need water to live, and many towns develop at a crossroads. Crossroads are a great place to trade with other travelers. Some towns thrive because there are mines or quarries with natural resources nearby, or good soil for agriculture, or reliable access to animal populations for livestock, or because it's an easily defensible position like at the top of a mountain. Whatever the reason for the town existing, that is a great place to start to think of a festival. Farming communities will have a harvest festival. That's when all the farmers come down from the hills to trade and share to keep the community going through the rough winter months. And since all the farmers are coming to town, the local businesses are going to put up booths or stalls to try to sell goods and services to those farmers. If it's a trade-based crossroads town, they'll probably have some kind of day celebrating trade itself. Maybe because of the establishment of this crossroads town, two previously warring factions were able to make a lasting peace and sign a treaty. And now every year they all meet in this crossroads town to commemorate that and have a big swap meet and get drunk for a day. And this also brings out all the street performers who are just trying to make a buck. If it's a mining town, they'll have a day celebrating the silver or gold miners or whatever. My point with this section is that if you consider where the festival is geographically, it can help you think of activities that match. Like if it's a forest village near trees, you could have a lumberjack competition. If it's seaside, regatta sailing. If the springtime weather is good, have a blooming flower festival. Another generic festival that often makes sense is Election Day. If your town or village has a democratically elected government or council, then why not turn it into a big party? Great way for the PCs to become involved in a political intrigue campaign if that kind of thing floats their boat. Or if there's no political system in your town, you could replace this with Guild Day, the big festival where all the guilds have a parade with floats and booths around town and all that kind of stuff. Guild Day is fun because you can run it like those job fairs they have in high school gyms. Hey young lady, want a life of adventure and crime? Join the Thieves Guild. Here, take one of our brochures.
What is this company?
Well, it's funny that you should ask because it's really more than a company.
And one more generic sort of holiday, or something that could easily be part of a larger festival, and that's Magic Day. A day to celebrate all kinds of magic with demonstrations far and wide from all sorts of magic users. And for larger festivals, you could easily blend Guild Day, Magic Day, Election Day, and whatever else into one big party. Think of this like a state fair kind of vibe, where everyone comes out of the woodwork to attend. Vendors who sell goods and services need customers, so they go where the people are. Okay, that's enough with the generic festivals. I'm going to give you 5 more specific ones to steal, along with the ones I already mentioned. All of these assume you're in a fantasy world like D&D, but it doesn't have to be D&D. I'm not going to present stats for anything, so it's all interchangeable. Our third specific holiday to steal is the Night of Eternal Stars. For most of human history, the sky and stars have seemed to us mysterious and unknowable. It makes sense this would hold true on other planets or planes or anywhere that doesn't have access to space flight. So it's winter solstice or some equivalent with a short day and long night. Magic users cast illusions of falling stars, and stargazing is an important part. Kids go on scavenger hunts to identify constellations. The townspeople light paper lanterns and release them into the sky to guide lost souls. Also, you don't have to time this holiday around the winter solstice because that might not even exist in your world. You could put this festival anywhere that has access to seeing stars at night. Next is one we're going to call Ancestors' Day, or this could be Founders' Day. The point is, this is a celebration of a specific local historical figure or figures. And we can set this up like the Stations of the Cross from the Catholic Church. Basically, we're going to take the parade idea, but instead of moving floats, you will have stations around town. These static recreations could depict something like, the first station shows the town founder settling in this area. Then the second station shows the founder encountering a dragon in the hills. Third station, a battle with the dragon. Then the founder uses the dragon's treasure to build bridges and roads, etc. This is an excellent way to pass along exposition about this town or local plot hooks. And you can always mix in several of those one-off elements from before, like street performers, vendors with stalls, and guilds trying to recruit people. The fifth one on our list is the Vision Quest Festival. Let me give you a specific example of how I implemented this in a recent campaign. I had created a town with an annual celebration they call the Wishing Tree Festival. And one of my favorite things to do when running these is to not tell the party what's going on. I like to let them stroll into town and see all this weird stuff happening, then they have to piece it together like a mystery. The Wishing Tree Festival is based around a massive, ancient tree in the center of town. Tolkien taught us that in fantasy, trees are special and magical, so we believe it. Anyway, for this festival, the town's young children would carry beaded necklaces through the town square and hang them on the tree branches. Then the teenage kids would take those necklaces and wear them to go on solo overnight camping trips in the nearby woods. Sort of like an outward bound vision quest. It was fun to drop my players in the middle of this and see them puzzle it out. And an excellent plot hook to drop here is something to do with one of the Vision Quest teens. Like, a young lady didn't come back from her Vision Quest, now it's a rescue mission and an excellent way to get the party to search the surrounding area. This is a great way to reverse engineer backwards from plot hook to festival. If I put a cave in the forest and want the party to explore it, then I need a reason for them to go to the cave. What if the party is going to the cave to rescue someone? So, someone needs to be missing. What if there's a festival where kids kinda go missing on purpose, but then one just doesn't come back? And this is how I write mystery novels. Start with the end and then work backwards to establish the clues that will lead the reader to that inevitable end. Anyway, let's talk about the Mirror Festival. Do you remember the New York-Dublin portal? In 2024, an artist established a 24-hour live stream between a large screen in New York and a screen in Dublin. It was an interesting experiment in connectivity, and it's my inspiration for the Mirror Festival. Let's say we're in a town that exists somewhere close to a planar crossing, like say this town is a known Feywild crossing. And once a year, the material plane and the Fey plane move very close to each other, so on this special day, anyone can see into the Feywild, and anyone in the Feywild can see into this town, but only through mirrors. So during this festival, residents all drag the mirrors out of their homes and put them in the street so people can view into this other plane. And there's going to be a big party on both sides, maybe business gets conducted through the mirrors. You could put tons of plot hooks here. Like, say the party needs to get to the Feywild and they have to find a specific mirror in town to do it. Now, this last one may seem like a cop-out, but I'm going to recommend stealing all of Chapter 1 of The Wild Beyond the Witchlight for the Witchlight Carnival. This is an official 5e adventure from 2021, and I really enjoyed running this adventure, and I especially like the first chapter, mostly because it contains a slew of carnival games. Because for all of the festivals I mentioned in this video, you're gonna need things for the party to do there. Carnival games are a great way to flesh out any festival. And anywhere people gather, grifters and charlatans also gather, so games of chance should be a common occurrence. That's about it for me. Hopefully this has shown you that festivals are both incredible flavor and great opportunities for both plot hooks and exposition. Until next time, I'm GM Jim, now let's party.
Thank you.